Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast. We are live on a Thursday. A little bit of a change of pace for us as we roll out episode 231, recapping bits and pieces of the experience that is the Bash for Cash out at the Ross County Fairgrounds in Chillicothe, Ohio, which is a fantastic show front to back. I mean, we saw the Canadians put on a show in terms of winning a bunch of Mad Dog Awards. Mason Robert Foster and Devin Germain coming up with some Mad Dog Awards. BJ Haining, he was doing exactly what he's always done in his orange and black cars, right up until he broke his foot pretty much in half. We saw some unique happenings in the 80s classes with roofs getting caved in and popped back up and people on the wall and the Frank the Tank wire class. I mean, you can't beat what that was. That was what it was supposed to be all weekend long. And then obviously congratulations going out to David Tillery, Joey Braun, and Gage Sumner. Gage Sumner, I feel like maybe coming away with the surprise win of the weekend. I mean, he's a great driver and everything like that. But
I don't think you can say surprise with Gage, because I mean he's competed at Blizzard Bash and held his own. I mean, he was, but we talked about it. That was going to be that class had the most potential winners in it. I mean, you couldn't narrow it down to 5 guys that were going to win.
Right.
If you asked 10 people, you wouldn't have got the same 5 names.
Sure.
it was definitely wide open. But I have a trivia question for you, Chris.
Go.
You're usually pretty good at this.
Okay.
Who are the only 2 guys who are going to do commentary on the 3 biggest derby shows in America?
I don't know. I guess it depends on what you consider the biggest 3 shows in America are.
Why do you got to steal my thunder?
Hey, Jake, what are you doing? Are you driving right now? All right, perfect. Hang on a second.
Wow, thanks for completely ruining my spot.
I saw where you're going with it. Go ahead.
I worked all day with that. No, never mind.
Are you trying to?
No,
I'm not.
I'm not saying anything. Just go on to the interview. Don't talk to me. Whatever.
Jake Sherman is joining us on the line right now. He's busy wheeling stuff all over creation so that he can get ready for this weekend's Derby. Jake, how are you?
Pretty good.
So this weekend, Road Rage Entertainment takes flight. We're going to shift our attention back to Bash for Cash in just a minute, but I wanted to catch Jake as soon as I could because I knew he was moving tents and everything all over in and out of Whitney Point from home base in Bainbridge. How's preparations going for Road Rage Entertainment's first big derby?
It's going pretty good. Just moving some equipment, moving the inspection trailer in and all that kind of stuff.
I saw a couple announcements today that were pretty cool that a sponsor has stepped up to help cover most of the cost of the insurance.
Yeah, yep. Had friends of ours, Dave and Jess, they had the stadium in Oxford, New York, and also Nina's Pizzeria in Norwich, New York, and they stepped up huge and helped cover the insurance, a good portion of the insurance for the pit, which made us able to cut the pit cost in half.
Oh, that's awesome.
Fantastic. I mean, that's a pretty good deal. $12 to get in general admission and $20 for all access?
Yes. Yep.
What time are the grounds going to open up for Road Rage Entertainment's team show on Saturday?
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
You guys are going to shove a ton of cars through tech inspection and drawing all the heats the day of. At this point, when we come across all the shows that we end up talking about, the biggest thing is the guys that are thrashing last minute, running into transmissions, engines, and things like that. Have you had any reports of things along those lines that are going to affect folks, or is everybody going to make it?
Yeah, it looks like a few guys have run into a little bit of trouble, some fatal problems. I know I haven't had a chance to speak with him yet. I know Jeremy Gully's having a lot of problems with his truck. He put a lot of time and money into that. whether he's going to find a replacement for it or what's going to happen with that. I haven't had a chance to talk to him, but a couple other guys, it sounds like they had some problems, but are doing last-minute building and last-minute fixing to be able to make it.
That's good. They're able to at least band-aid it back together, and they're going to be out there, and the weather forecast looks like it's going to be agreeable. It sounds like everything is starting to line up okay. Just a couple I's left to dot and T's left to cross.
That's it. Well, I think we're going to get real lucky with the weather. I looked at it a week ago, and it was talking about a little bit of rain, maybe some thunderstorms, but
right.
As the weeks progressed, I just checked it here a couple hours ago, and it's talking about nice, cool, cloudy, and no rain.
That's good.
Can't beat that.
The cool weather always plays into a factor when you have a demolition derby, because those cars start losing water, and when it's 95 degrees outside, heat builds up a whole lot faster than when it's...
Yes, it does. That ambient temperature will kick in the butt.
That's for sure, and plus, when you start wrenching in the pits and stuff to get stuff back to ready to go for the feature, it sure is nice being 70 and cloudy and not 90 and sunny,
Yeah,
yes,
for sure.
Yeah, we saw that at Bash for Cash this weekend, for sure. How's Robin keeping up with everything? It seems like the Road Rage page has been pretty busy the last day or so.
Oh yeah, we get a lot of calls and a lot of things going on. So she's been right there by my side the whole time and making the calls and doing things, and she's been a huge help to me and been terrific. But everything looks like everything's it's going to happen. So everything's falling into place, and we'll go from there.
You excited?
Yeah, a little bit. I got even tomorrow. I got quite a bit of stuff. Picking up trophies, and we're giving away 7 different Power Wheels. And as you know, or I realized, they don't exactly fit well into anything when you have 7 of them. So I think we're going to close trailer, and we're going to try to stack them all into there, and and then of course tables and tents and all that other stuff to get ready. But other than that, I think we're going to be good to go.
That sounds good. I mean, I'm certainly looking forward to it. Action going to start at 1 o'clock, you said?
Well, I was just talking with Ed Brewster a little bit and get with him. I think the RC Derby is going to start this a little bit earlier so we can make sure we get all the events in. The best one to talk to on that would be Ed Brewster. I know he's been posting things. I believe the first round is going to start around 11.
Okay. So
and go right through. But Power Wheels themselves will start at 2 o'clock sharp, and then the Derby will start shortly after. So the event itself should be kicked off at 2.
Perfect. Well, I like the sounds of all that. The start time 2 o'clock. Gates open at 8 o'clock. It's going to be a great show front to back. We'll tell you a little bit more about Road Rage here in a little bit. But Road Rage Entertainment at the Broome County Fairgrounds, Whitney Point. We're going to go live with it. Free stream on Saturday. Probably go live around 1:45 or so. We'll get everybody a good look at the Power Wheels as those kids cut their demolition derby teeth, and some of them making their first outings as well. Some of those Power Wheels kids are in the same boat as the big car guys. They're trying to figure out what to do with Band-Aiding stuff together because they overcharge motors or messed up batteries and stuff. So it's kind of cool. They get to live the real deal derby life as well.
That's it. Thanks. And like I said, for everybody, plan on sticking around after the show itself because we're going to have a live band, and figure if anybody wants any sodas afterwards, have at it. Bring your own sodas.
Awesome. Good deal.
Good idea.
Well, I know you're busy. I know you got a lot of ground to cover yet, but I wanted to just give you a chance to talk a little bit about it, and we're certainly looking forward to getting down to Road Rage Entertainment, the team derby for compacts. There's full-size teams, there's truck teams, there's one and dones. It's going to be a great show. Good time down there online. RoadRageEntertainment.com, on Facebook, Facebook.com/Road Rage Enter. Thanks for coming. Is there anybody else that you wanted to make mention of here before we let you go?
No, just again, obviously we want to thank everybody help the Road Rage team and sponsors that really helped us out in the step forward. Bainbridge Auto Center was huge with the Kids Zone. Of course, Dave and Jess today with Nina's and the stadium. Without all their help with the also Jen and Auto did a sponsorship earlier today also when I seen him. So everything's coming along pretty good, and I'd like to thank them for their sponsorship. So that's just more money in the driver's pocket.
Awesome. Sounds good, Jake. We'll plan on seeing you down there bright and early Saturday morning as we get ready for Road Rage Entertainment, the Team Derby, Saturday at the Broome County Fairgrounds at Whitney Point.
All right, thank you.
We'll see ya.
Now that'll work out good if he's figuring the green flag for the cars and stuff at 2. We got 7 and 7 at 9. So if you go 9 to 12, that'll give me 2 hours to get from Lyons to my house to Whitney Point. I think I can do it.
Yeah. Yep. Go. And focus on the skinny pedal.
I think I can do it. 'Cause I would like to get down and see that show. Possibly, I mean, if you have room, maybe even get on air with you.
Yeah, sure. I'll find something for you to do.
Right, thanks.
I got a bunch of stuff. I got a bunch of plans down there. I don't know if it'll work, but we're gonna try.
Cool.
For sure. Oh, there we go. I had to wait for the phone to reset. We were getting that incoming call, so we couldn't call out.
That's not good.
Let's see. Let's go in order here. The next event that we're going to be at, as we alluded to, is going to be Road Rage Entertainment's Team Derby. Online, Facebook.com/Road Rage Enter. The Facebook page has been hopping all day today with questions and people asking about logistics and things, just tons of information going back and forth. So check it out. Don't be afraid to scroll a little bit on the Facebook page. A lot of the questions that are coming in are pretty easily answered if you just take a look at some of the posts that the admins have made thus far. June the 2nd, 2018, Broome County Fairgrounds, Whitney Point, New York. The compact team sold out. Truck teams, there's a couple spots left. Full-size V8, there's a couple spots available there as well. One and dones, I think there's 5 spots left in the V8s. But other than that, everything is pretty loaded up there as well for the junk run and the compacts. All the one and dones are 1,000 to win guaranteed. You've got the opportunity with those classes to show up the day of, and they might be able to find you some room because, like I said, at this point, there's still a couple openings here and there. One and dones, again, 1,000 to win guaranteed. There's an RC Derby with the JMW Motorsport starting around 11 o'clock. The Power Wheels Derby is going to be live at 2. There's also the Kids Zone of the Play area that's out there, so if the kids get bored or something, you can drop them off over there. There's a bunch of local teachers have volunteered to come and hang out and keep an eye on the kiddos if they get bored of the Derby. That way you don't have to leave. Great program front to back. Compact Team Derby, June the 2nd, 2018. That's Saturday at the Broome County Fairgrounds, Road Rage Entertainment.com. Spinning Wheels Productions, June the 16th is 2 weeks from Saturday. That's at the Otsego County Fairgrounds in Morris. The Jeffy's Fab Farm Mini Meltdown, $10,000 worth of prize money online just for the compacts. It's $4,000 to win, $2,000 to $1,000 on down through the top 3, $1,000 for the Mad Dog as well. The field is full, 105 cars strong, so it's awesome to see that. There's going to be some stacked heats. There's going to be somewhere around like 17, 18 on the track, and they're running it down deep. So you got to
2 or 3 or something like that.
2 or 3. You got to keep your head on a swivel. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. There's one and done classes as well, which are guaranteed 500 win plus 75% of the entries for economy V8, limited well V8, full size trucks, and compact trucks. And shifting gears, turning our attention to Stern Dirt Racing. That is not the right ad. We're going to jump back to that one. Let's keep it local. We'll go this way. Brookfield Wheel Days is coming up at the end of the year, September the 22nd, and that is going to be an awesome show. It always is. The year-end derbies are always phenomenal because they've got the stuff that they can basically anybody who has anything left is going to be able to bring it back out and run it one final time. That's overseen by King Smash'em Crash'em Demolition Derbies online, facebook.com/King Smash'em Crash'em. They also oversee the Madison County Fair in Brookfield, New York, which is July the 12th and the 14th. The fair championship pays $1,000 to win for the compacts and $1,500 to the winner of the full size. King Smash'em Crash'em over the weekend had a demolition derby at Fulton Speedway. The chain and bang was won by Paul Owen. Josh Owen was second place. Steve Walters was third. Dave Ibrahim won the Mad Dog Award and the compacts. And then the junk run, which was vans and light trucks and stuff like that, was won by Alan Fink. And Alan Fink also got Mad Dog in that one over there at the Fulton Speedway. They've got a whole slew of speedway derbies that are coming up through the course of this year. So it's kind of cool that they've got that up and running. And we're going to turn our attention now back to Bash for Cash as we try and sprint through everything we got to cover tonight because we got to be out of here early in order to get the Final Round podcast, get all the studio and the sets and everything turned over, get everything loaded where it has to be so that we can then do the Final Round podcast coming up at 7 o'clock, which is an hour and 15 minutes away. Usually I'm sharing links right now for that show. that stuff's already done because we got to keep everything moving for this. David Tillery on deck next to talk with him about his second win in 3 years at the Bash for Cash. Circumstances on this one were a little bit different. He didn't have the pressure of Disneyland hanging over the top of him.
Did you see on Facebook there's 160 days till Blizzard Bash?
Yes, I did. Isn't that exciting? Doesn't everybody want to think about that?
That's less than 6 months.
Nope. It's
way less than 6 months.
Not a lot of time.
Those guys better get well then.
Hey, David, it's Chris. Can I put you in? So we've got one David Tillery on the line. David, how are you?
Hey, guys. How are you?
What's going on, Dave?
Doing just fine. Has it sunk in yet that you won 2 Bash for Cashes now in the compact division?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It was good.
So, I mean, just thinking about the significance of it, it's something that Brian had alluded to last week. Bill Parcells says, just let me get to the Super Bowl one time. And then after you go there, it's like, just let me win the Super Bowl one time. And then you win it, and then it's like, just let me win it one more time. And after you win it the second time, it's like, it sure would be nice to get one more before we're all done. Leading up to it, it was just nice to get to the feature at Bash for Cash. And then you won it, and then it's like, man, I don't know if I'll ever do this again. And sure enough, here we are talking twice in the last 3 years about you being the compact champion at Bash for Cash.
Yeah, it's an awesome feeling.
How did this feature play out compared to the one that you won 2 years ago?
Felt a little more dominant. I had a lot more buddies there. A lot of people saying that they wouldn't do what we did to win it, but I mean, I don't feel anybody's capable of doing what we did to win it. I don't think that people have 5 other guys in their back pocket that's as good as they are to pull off a win like we did.
Right. The event itself. How the feature played out. You guys were expressing a little bit of concern, or that you guys were facing an uphill battle with you and Ryan, with Jordan and Jaron, Jimmy, Daniel, and Johnny having 7 cars to worry about. You guys were concerned that you'd be able to get 2 or 3 of them into the feature. After that conversation, your heat draws played out where you had 3 cars in the first heat, 3 cars in the third heat, and 1 car in the middle. And 6 of those 7 were able to make it to the feature without even having to worrying about the consolation. What kind of pressure did that take off of you guys in terms of making it through that main, not just in terms of getting cars together and having the extra time to work with, but also knowing that you had people out there that you're going to be able to work with?
Yeah, it felt great. It played a big factor in the weekend. It made it a lot easier, made it go a lot smoother.
Was as you were getting down lower and lower, and you were seeing that you still had a lot of friends running, it kind of had to get fun, knowing that chances were the way things were looking when you guys were gonna be taking it home. I mean, did it start getting a little more fun and a little less stressful when it was getting down towards the end of the feature?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun running down like that. The boy that got second, we run with him a lot. That's Chris and them guys in that group, and we had made an agreement. We was running all the way down. It worked out good with him getting second. It was good to see him, getting the money, and that way he got money too, because we all ran hard together with each other, and it couldn't have went no better. It was an awesome derby.
Were you able to see the hit that he and Jordan made on each other, nose to nose? Did you see that hit, or did you miss it?
Yeah, I was following Jordan up the track when he done it. It was a hit.
Man, it bent the front of both of those cars, and that's saying something. And it bent them bad. That was one of the hardest hits of the weekend, right there.
Oh, sure, no question.
Yeah, it was a good one.
When you guys, when the tide really turned your way, it was Chris Steepro and what, like 5 maybe?
Yeah.
And it still came down to where Steepro was flirting with second place. What makes him so slippery? I mean, he's a phenomenal driver. We've seen him in competition before. We've seen him be successful before. It was the first time he was ever in an AMC. It was one of those bucket list type cars, and he ran it down to second place. What makes him so hard to get past?
He's just on the he's on the level we're on as far as the build. Our 5 guys, only a handful of them even used to being in the spotlight like that. They don't make it down to the derbies. They don't come to all the big shows. Like one of them, it was only his 3rd derby, and the guy in the pink car.
Daniel.
And
they're not used to all that dynasty and like that, and he's a hell of a builder, hell of a driver, and it was tough to beat.
So which one of these is more meaningful? I mean, you won the first one so that you could go to Disneyland. That pressure wasn't there this time.
Yeah, it was just the pressure of beating all my friends. When it come down like that, who was the one going to win it down the first and pull off the win? They were both good. They're both awesome.
So why didn't Jordan turn on you earlier and get you out of the way so he could win?
Well, that was the goal, was for him to win, but we didn't want to. We did it. Well, if we did it, it just happened. There was no plan after that.
That's funny. What do you guys have planned for the rest of the year? I mean, this is a pretty nice way to kick off the season. You going to run a bunch more, or is this enough for you?
Nah, we just probably our home show. Jordan puts it on now, and they bought a plasma table. They're gonna start making some parts and selling derby stuff. And I know we're going in Tennessee, that White Pines Derby
In December.
Blowing up. Yeah, in December.
How far is that for you?
4 hours.
That's nothing. It's nothing.
We go down there for the week, take a vacation, and relax and run that.
Now you said after this win that you didn't have a trip to pay for, but I mean, I'm sure the wife probably gave you some ideas afterwards on what you can spend the money on, right?
Oh yeah, she's wanting a pool and all kinds of stupid stuff. At least a little bit of that money's got to go back in the Derby stash. I mean, you gotta have another car for next year. You got to make sure you got the right parts. I mean, a little bit's got to stay in the Derby stash. Yeah. I done bought a car for next year. I've done got a couple Pacers sitting for the next few Bass for Cashes, and we'll keep them stocked up.
A lot of people were talking about if the front wheel drive versus rear wheel drive going in there. I thought the front wheel drives. I thought they were they were hanging right there with you guys for a long time. I mean, obviously, you guys are pretty successful and good builders. I mean, but there was front wheel drive cars out there that were hanging right with you, and they were doing a good job as well. I mean, I don't think the rear wheel drive cars had necessarily an advantage over the rear wheel drives. I think it just kind of went for them this weekend.
Yeah, it just went well for them. We was wondering how it was going to pan out after Blizzard Bass. The front wheel drive, they dominated the Blizzard Bass. I know the rules are a little different, but we joked around about it. Said if Bass for Cash goes anything like Blizzard Bass, we're hanging up the compacts and the front wheel drives can take on over.
Perfect. That's exciting to hear that too.
Absolutely.
That's great news. I don't know though. With the stash of compacts that you guys have, I don't know. It probably wouldn't be an easy transition. You got to burn up all the compacts first.
Yeah. Maybe if it was only a few of us, they might have handled, but we just had too many this time.
That's cool.
It was a good show.
I mean, and last year you were in the feature, and I think you got top 10, right?
No, I had a bad time last year. I didn't finish my car last year right. I had family problems that I didn't even work on my car last week. My son finished it, and I went in with another car that wasn't right. And I just lost steering and got pounded on the wall.
That kind of stuff happens too.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen plenty of that. That is for sure. Well, David, man, is there anybody that you want to make mention of or recognize in terms of helping make sure that you got to Bash for Cash? Not only that, but came away with the win.
I just all my friends that was on the track with me and family. We all can't do it without each other. It was great. That's about it.
Sounds good to me.
Absolutely.
And thanks for the shout out on track. That was cool.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't think of your guys' name at the time though.
That's all right.
You were pretty much on the spot there, bud.
Yep.
Yeah, I got out of the car. I know that you guys helped me out, so I gave you some stickers, and I couldn't even think of your name.
It happens. You hit the important one. You got Josh's name out there.
It's all good.
Well, congratulations again, man. I'm happy for you. It was good to see.
All right. Well, thank you.
We'll see you soon, David. Take care.
All right. You too.
Bye now.
Okay.
David Tillery winning the compact division at Bash for Cash.
You know what else we didn't touch on?
What?
Who was the guy that picked all 3 class winners Saturday night?
I don't know. I never went back to watch the video to make sure that it was correct.
You picked him.
Because I thought you were picking on me about who I picked in the compacts.
No. You picked him.
All 3?
Mm-hmm.
What can you do?
I got a second place.
I guess it's better to be lucky than good, right?
Yeah. I think I got a second out of there. I don't remember, but yeah, it was good. It was a great weekend. Frank the Tank did not disappoint again. Chris was nice enough. Him and Steve took care of the commentary, and I went outside and stood and watched the Frank the Tank so I could feel the hits and be there close to it. And I'm here to tell you, Mike Klinger and Tiffany Hahn have. If you're going to win that class, they're the 2 you got to beat because they have got that figured out, and they just go out there and make junk. And it's, they
the road to a win in that class goes through Mill Creek, Pennsylvania. We said it a bunch of times, and they delivered. And this is the first time that they didn't also take the Mad Dog Award.
Yeah, and that was a very close vote. I had to be.
Yeah, that was.
Mike Klinger was absolutely.
But it went to New York. It came, but Robert ended up getting it,
yep.
Which was cool.
Yeah,
especially after the hardships that team went through with the shop burning down. It was cool to see, but there was certainly just cause to debate on track as the officials had to.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's after they had made the decision. Russ and I were talking. He said, "Who do you think was Mad Dog?" And I said, "Klinger." He goes, he lost it by, I think he said 2 votes.
Yeah,
was the difference, and that's between all the on track officials.
Yeah,
so I mean that's pretty close.
Yeah, it was a photo finish.
It was, but I mean it was. Well, the one car, it was orange and blue. I couldn't tell you what it started out as, but when they got done with it, it was only like 2 foot off the ground. Like the roof was pretty much even with the doors, and it ended up right just to the left of where we were parked. It was
orange and blue.
Yeah. And that thing was tore up.
I can't place that one. Orange and blue. I remember the black. There was a black car with red, white, and blue stripes on the side. That was Adrian Gilbert's car.
Mm-hmm.
He was
down to like 4th.
And then Robert had a car that was identical to his, basically. But I don't remember the orange and blue car. I mean, I'm sure it was out there. It's just,
if you saw pictures of it, I think you'd bring it back.
I'm sure.
It was. Well, I mean, we looked at 500 cars this weekend. We saw a lot of stuff.
One slipped through the crack.
Yeah.
597 of them.
You know what's strange, though, is that the national color of Ohio isn't that well represented
in it can't be national color of state. It's like
it is. There wasn't that many
the national
black
bird
cars.
of New York is the bluebird. It's just a state bird.
But there wasn't that many black cars in the Frank the Tank class.
Well, yeah, because you don't have to hide there.
That's exactly right. Just hold it on the floor. But it was awesome. That's definitely my favorite class. And we got to give Matt Gaskin Sr. 3 in a row Mad Dogs at Bass for Cash.
Now, I remember his car was orange and white.
Yep. Cadillac, good call. Matt Gaskin Jr. made it to the feature again. I'm not sure exactly what happened. He made it down in a ways.
I mean, there's so many people So Butch Cisco, he had a fun time out there.
72 years young.
Something. He gave me like 4 different ages, so I'm not sure what he was trying to hide, but he was.
He still got the guns. He showed them when he got interviewed. He showed the guns.
Perfect. So we got Joey Braun welcoming Joey to the show. Congratulations on the win out there in the Turn Back the Clock class at Bash for Cash. Has it sunk in yet?
Yeah, starting to.
Starting to?
Just trying to get unpacked and starting to get back to reality here, so yeah, it's starting to settle in.
Is there enough of the car left to run it next year?
Definitely not. We used up everything this year. I was made sure of that. They made us earn it.
It's a good thing they got 17 or 18 more sitting behind the shop.
Yeah, we do have some more sitting behind the shop, but that's a lot more work to put into.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's got to be a little bit easier to take on that challenge after you put your trophy in among all the rest of them that your family's got.
Yeah, I mean, heck, the last 6-7 years I've been watching my dad or brother win. It gets kind of old after the second and third time, especially when your brother is the younger brother. So glad to finally get one of my own.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to like 2012.
Yeah, I was going to ask Joey, do you know how many wins your family has in Turn Back the Clock? Offhand?
In Turn Back the Clock, we have 6 wins, and then Trace has 2 wins in the kicker class at the Bash.
That's not bad.
So,
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
Yep. And we've had a pretty good run. I mean, the one year we didn't win in 2013, I got second to Paul Petro, and
Right.
ever since then we've had some pretty good luck.
I had those years flipped. I thought Petro won it in 12, and they started their run in 13. It was the other way around, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Did now towards the end of the feature, your car stalled a couple times. Were you getting nervous, or did you think you had it in hand?
Well, I had the throttle adjuster actually got stuck and pinned in the firewall, so I couldn't turn the idle up anymore.
Oh.
But I did get pretty nervous when the starter stopped working. I don't know if you guys heard that on the podcast, but it wasn't engaging a few times, and then for whatever reason, it started working again. So the gods were on my side that night.
we heard that from inside the mobile home. We heard the starter not wanting to go. But then it only happened like twice, right? And then every time afterwards, it whirled right over, right?
Yeah, that was a scary moment. I mean, I hit the button 2 or 3 times, and I thought my night was done. And then all of a sudden, it engaged again and fired right back up. So,
I mean, what's the feeling inside the cockpit? You know, I mean, you're sitting one car away from $10,000, and you push that button and nothing happens. Is it immediately everything just tightens right up and you get that adrenaline rush, the fight or flight, or have you done this so many times where you're calm, just let it play out and let everything sit for a second and push the button again and hope that it comes around?
To be quite honest, I was perfectly satisfied when I got down to the top 5 or 6 there, because every one of those guys deserves a win.
Right.
And with the feature that was out there that night, I did not expect to be in the top 3, so I was already satisfied. You know, if I had to watch Dave Meyer get a win, he deserves it as much as anybody, so I was just getting all I could get at that point.
Sure.
But yeah, it did make me a little nervous. I mean, obviously I want to take the win home.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to win at Bash for Cash? So I seem to remember on track you said that your family has run through a total of 17 wagons in the Turn Back the Clock class. Is that right?
Yeah, I do a lot of welding at our garage, and I counted before we went there, and that was our 17th fresh wagon that we had built for the Bash for Cash Turn Back Clock class. So, yeah, it was a lot of cars that have been welding up over the years.
That's crazy.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
I think what's really cool is, and you can correct me where I go astray, but legend has it that basically it's almost like an assembly line, where everything gets done and then they move on to the next part of the car and it all gets done. And the way you guys prepare for the Bash for Cash is the same as way, I mean, almost as if you've got teams that are preparing for the Daytona 500. You know, they're making sure everything, just like everybody else is, but the degree of precision, because basically, if I'm not mistaken, you guys focus with fresh cars on this one. If there's anything left, then maybe you run some of your local shows, but Bash for Cash is the one on the calendar for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, as far as any other derbies, we only run, like, if I would have had something left over from Bash, I probably would have took it to Greenville, Dark County Fair, but, you know, when we're building cars, it kind of works out nice because we're really departmentalized as far as, you know, who builds what. My dad does all the nuts and bolts. You know, he gets the drivetrains running right and, you know, does all the wiring, runs all the fuel lines, and, you know, whatever is nut and bolt related, my dad does. As far as fabrication, I do most all of that, and then my brother fits in and helps him with my dad whenever he can and helps me when he can. He does all the prep work, and he does all the creasing on our wagons, which I think he kind of takes pride in that. They always look good. But, you know, I've always said that details win derbies, and that's one of the things that we've excelled at. Is my dad, you know, he's been a mechanic for 33 years, so he always makes sure everything's running right, and, you know, every I is dotted and every T is crossed, so it works out.
If I can ask, I was told one time that it's treated like a job, and that you have to put in for time off on a Saturday, and if you put in for time off on a Saturday to go on a date or go hang out with friends or something like that, you have to make the time up through the course of the week, just like a job.
Yeah. I mean, that does happen sometimes. We work religiously every Saturday unless I'm a wrestling coach. Unless I have a wrestling meet that Saturday. I mean, we work every Saturday, and then when March, April comes around, then we're, you know, working about every day. But it's been better the last couple of years. It's just me and my brother were getting the biggest arguments. If one of us would
skip garage day to go on a date or something. Yeah, we definitely had to make it up the next day, otherwise there was going to be an argument. So, but that's how you get the cars done, I guess.
I went over on Sunday when these guys were working on stuff, and I talked to Joey's dad, and there was a fab shop and welding shop had brought a bunch of equipment. There was backhoes and skidsters and welding trucks and boom trucks and all sorts of stuff. And he's like, yeah, they offered to help us. And he said that all the cars were like backed into their spots and they were working on front ends. He said, yep, so we're going to do everything in the front ends. We're going to turn them around and work on the back ends. And I was just like, I mean, it was that planned out. I'm like, and that's the thing. I mean, these guys, people boo them because they win. But there isn't anybody that's got more pressure going into the Bash for Cash than the Brauns. I mean, think about it. There's nobody that's got more pressure because they do win it and they keep winning it. And I told Joey and his brother, and I told his dad, I said, I respect what they do because they come in with a bullseye, and to keep performing at that level. I mean, that's it's hard to perform at that level year after year. I mean, when's the last time you saw one of their cars die in the heat? It doesn't happen. I mean, when's the last time you saw one of their cars with a tire break off it? It doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the thing, to perform at that level, and that's the thing. I mean, when Joey was interviewed on the track afterwards, he said a great thing, and I really thought it was cool. And as the days have gone on, and reading some of the stuff on Facebook, obviously the on track, the Siopas and the Brauns, there's a pretty good rivalry there. But when it's over, they shake hands and it's good. And it's not the drivers, it's not Joey and Mark or Joey and Steve that are engaging in the banter back and forth. It's people in the stands.
Sure.
And that's what I feel to a point it kind of gives a black eye. I mean, it's good to support, but I mean, it doesn't have to. It doesn't. I don't think it's good to make it personal. I mean, the drivers obviously don't make it personal. I mean, what? Mark knows he's got to beat Joey, and Joey knows he's got to beat Mark in order to bring home the money. And that's, that's the great thing about Derby. And I thought that was something great that Joey touched on. I mean, there's a mutual respect, on the track. And I mean, that's how it is. And it's.
I love it when all the Siopas, all the Heinens, and all the Brauns from the track at the same time. I love it.
Yeah,
that is a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be a show, no doubt.
We talked to Steve a little bit after the Derby, and he brought up a good point too. He goes, if it wasn't for this rivalry we've had going on the last couple of years, it really wouldn't be any fun anymore. It does keep the motivation levels up to go back there and want to beat them and want to perform better than them. And honestly, half the help we got in the pits on Sunday was because everyone was fired up and they wanted to get as many of our cars on the track as possible. So it kind of feeds into it and helps everything out. But, at the end of the day, I do have to remind myself, it's like, wait a minute, I don't actually dislike these guys. I respect them. I just, we're so engaged in the competition that you can forget that sometimes.
Right. Yep.
But
I also found out something very cool about Joey. He's a football coach when he's not doing Derby stuff, so he's a great guy there being a football coach. We're on that same wavelength.
That is literally the only thing you have in common besides breathing oxygen.
Yep, that's it. I painted my cars black too.
And we had our first lift this morning, so everything started.
They had the football meeting today, and we start our stuff next week, so it'll be fun.
Nice.
Awesome. Joey, is there anybody that you want to make mention of that helps make sure the cars get out there? I know you got a tight family and you got some good support at home.
Yeah, everybody that I mentioned on the track and the on-track interview, family is the biggest thing, and my uncles especially are always helping. I mean, Todd, who's usually a little more behind the scenes, as far as at the Derby, he's always working on our cars, but he stepped up big time this year. We fell behind, and he went over to Trace's shop and helped him a lot, and he also helped us get some cages built. So, I mean, that was the biggest reason for getting all the cars done, and then all the people that helped at the track, Pinwell's Welding, bringing those weld trucks was awesome. Made everything a lot easier, and honestly, just all the vendors that keep making all this possible, getting all these parts, and you guys for putting the show on the air, and it's awesome. It's good to see our sport grow.
That's great. Well, for sure, man. Keep us posted how the summer goes. Worst case scenario, we'll catch up with you about this time next year as we get ready for Bash for Cash 2019. I trust by then you'll have 3 or 4 wagons about done, and we can.
We'll see.
And we'll pick it up from where we left off.
Sounds great, man. Take care.
Have a good one, Joey.
Congratulations, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
There goes Joey Braun as we continue our sprint through the special Thursday edition of the Crash Course. He alluded to being on the air and things of that nature. DerbyNation.tv carried it, and DerbyTees.tv, powered by DEC Headers, presented the Bash for Cash 2014, presented by Collier Performance Engines. Said enough times to remember it, right? I shouldn't have to go back to the memory banks that hard. But that was the first time since Sturgis, Kentucky, that we collaborated on a show directly like that, and I thought it was awesome. I had a ton of fun. Personally, I had a whole lot less pressure. I felt like I could focus on the show a lot more. It was great to work with Steve Bucknam and George Heinold. Steve put in a ton of miles going from the microphone out to the track, doing the trackside interviews presented by Jeffy's Fab Farm. Got that one. And and just it was a lot of fun as a whole.
Yeah, it was, and that's the thing. We Tim came to us with an opportunity, said, I'd like you guys to come down and do the commentary, and absolutely. We've dreamt about doing that since Crash Course has started, and Chris and I were lucky to go down, and we worked on with Derby Tees and Derby Nation, and everything went great.
I heard them saying the same thing to each other as I was saying to you in the car. It's like, just go talk and have fun. And
it was
man, it was just a couple minutes in, and I felt like we were rolling.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, I really felt like we hit the flow.
Yep.
And Sunday was a ball.
It was a good time. I'm not gonna lie, it was different not being out closer to the track like we usually are. But then again, now at Blizzard Bash we're behind the plexiglass, so it's getting closer. But I'm also not going to lie that it was really nice being in air conditioning. So it was fun. Everything went great. Great guys to work with. It was cool.
Kim Pataki put in a ton of work editing videos together. They had cameras going all weekend long. Mark had the cameras out there. George Heinold was busting his butt. Andy Ortolani did a great job. I hope he said his name right. The parachuter. He did a great job on camera. Robert Compton, Cheaters Videos. They're doing the DVDs from there as well. He split his time between taping for the live stream and taping for the DVD. I mean, it was a full court press in terms of making sure that production was quality, and it showed it. It looked great.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, that was, and like I said, honestly, I do, and I've said it a bunch of times, and people are probably sick of hearing me say it, but I mean, I feel completely blessed to be, brought into these shows to just do the little bit that we do. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we're gonna be lucky enough to announce 3 of the biggest shows this year. It's more than I ever dreamt. It really is. Unfortunately, some people are sour about stuff, and unfortunately that happens. But we have a lot more positive than we do negative. So
sure.
That's what we're gonna stick with.
Yep. That's
what we're gonna keep going with, and. As long as they'll have us, we're going to be here. And as my post said the other day, Chris Marquardt's planning on his world domination, so that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I was still pissed about that.
I've
told you guys thousands of times that I hate pictures when I'm asleep in the car. I don't do that to other people.
You were awake though.
I don't think I was. I don't remember that picture. I don't remember that picture being taken.
Because I turned in the car. I had a Gatorade. No, not Gatorade.
Maybe I was. I could have been. Well, if that's the case, then so be it. Maybe I was playing video games, or I was hidden inside the coat or the hoodie, because we drove for 7 hours with the windows down at 70 miles an hour, and I had the heat on my side of the car because I was freezing.
Well, I think once you fell asleep, you didn't notice me going down the thruway, going from the passing or the riding lane to the passing lane.
Pay no attention.
It was a good thing there was no cars running with us, because we hit him into the Rapidillies.
We got Gage Sumner coming up here momentarily. He just asked me if I was still calling him. Yes, we are. Stern Dirt Racing has got some action coming up later this month, being June, which is tomorrow. We're still in May. June the 23rd, the date for the Golden Spike Arena. Big return to that event. $30,000 in payout. It's the Iron Class with the Imperials and the 03 Vics allowed. Ogden, Utah. Back to that beautiful, the palatial Golden Spike Arena. They've got that. And the next huge show for Stern Dirt Racing is that 2-day Wasatch Wipeout. It's back on the schedule, 27th and 28th of July, Heber City, Utah. $90,000 in prize money, $25,000 to win. Fifth through last gets $1,000. $5,000 Mad Dog Award, farm trucks, front wheel drives, and the passenger class, each paying out $4,500, and they get to split it up however they want. Online, sterndirtracing.com. let's see. And before we get to Blizzard Bash, we've got to, come on, don't freeze up now. We're almost there. Chaos in the Valley 2018 is October the 20th at Shenandoah County Fairgrounds. We saw Jason Shipe get back
to meet Jason.
Yep, and Jason looks nothing like you envisioned. He's a gigantic
big
dude, isn't he?
He's a big dude.
Shenandoah County Fairgrounds in Woodstock, Virginia. Showtime 5 o'clock. The compact, stock V8s, mod V8s, and SUVs on deck. Monster builds, monster payouts. It's all to benefit Townsville Volunteer Fire Department. Online, facebook.com/Chaos Valley. Bunch of the guys from down the Shenandoah Valley were in competition. We saw Josh Wilkins. He almost made the feature. We saw Matt Kingry. Josh Orndorff was out there. A bunch of the Kibblers were running. And then Jason Shipe got back in there. And we can't forget, Jesse Bly. Jesse Bly was there as well with his number 2. So it was good to see those guys all out there in competition at the 2018 Bash for Cash. So from here, we've got Blizzard Bash sitting in the wings at the Kansas Expo Center in Topeka, Kansas. November the 7th is the heat draw. 7 to 10 is the pit party. November the 8th is the national qualifying first round for the teams, starting at 4 o'clock. At 5 o'clock on the 9th, the compact and limited weld teams draw their heats. At 6 o'clock, they wrap up that meeting and move into the national qualifying round 2. November the 10th is a double header. 10 o'clock start time, compact and limited weld team heats at 10 a.m. At 6 o'clock, all the Team B features, trucks, and limited weld one and dones. Basically, we're going to roll from one right into the other. We'll take like an hour break. We'll get up, go to the bathroom. Maybe you have enough time to wait in line for a bottle of water and move into the second part of that double header.
Get some cardboard.
And then I can't wait. And then Championship Sunday is on deck on the 11th of November. At 1 o'clock is the start for the Bone Stocks, the 80s Mod, and all the Team A mains online, blizzardbash.com. So we've paid all of our bills. This might just work out. And I anticipate this will be a quick and potentially quiet interview. I've got to be kind to Gage. He definitely does not want to come on. But I kind of told him he didn't have a choice.
Did you threaten him with Jason Brzezinski?
No. I told him I wouldn't let him be uncomfortable. We'll be okay. Absolutely. But I mean, he can't not. Gage, can I put you in? Wouldn't let him get uncomfortable because you won Bash for Cash. You got to come on. Gage Sumner joining us on the hotline. Gage, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
We're doing okay. Has it sunk in yet that you won the kicker class at Bash for Cash?
Yeah, it's starting to a little bit. Still, it was a little bit surreal, but yeah, it's starting to sink in.
You hadn't run the Bash for Cash before this, had you?
No, it's my first time.
I mean, 1 for 1 isn't too bad, right?
No, I'll take that. Not too bad.
Take me through your expectations first for the weekend. I mean, just showing up there, you've got the reputation now with the bumper program that you've got. People are sort of looking for you. Was the goal just like everybody else says? If I could make the feature, then the weekend's a win.
Yeah, I told a lot of people that asked me. The car really didn't owe me anything. I built it fresh for Freedom Hall. Had a few runs on it already, and really just going to look and have fun. Had a rough trip getting there, and just the main thing was to have fun, stay safe, and really wasn't expecting a win. I mean, you go out there thinking you have a chance to win, or there's no reason you were going out there, but I didn't expect to bring it home, honestly.
In terms of the feature itself, it looked like you were exhausted when you got out of the car.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. The track, was a lot choppier than it looks from the stands, and the heat, and not to mention, I think the last good portion of it, I didn't have steering on one side, so lost power steering, was working the wheel pretty hard, and drove the whole feature without brakes, so it was driving with the tranny the whole time. From about 5 minutes in, it was pretty tiring.
Wow.
Driving with a tranny. I mean, that transmission
That's
went through.
That's a good tranny right there.
It went through way more abuse than I thought.
Wow.
Yeah, it pulls great still, but I'm definitely going to have that one looked at.
Yeah.
I'd have them built just like that one, because if I can go that long, then that's golden. That's an impressive tranny.
Yeah, you can't beat it. Guy out of Southern Illinois builds them, and he does one heck of a job.
Now, Gage, you've run Blizzard Bash before, which is a little bit faster paced. Do you prefer more of a driver's pace like in Bash, or do you like the faster pace like in Topeka?
I really didn't know how to expect it, because I've seen it go fast at Blizzard Bash or Topeka both, and it just kind of depends on, basically the heat draw in Topeka. And at Bash, it's just I went out there, was in my head just going to drive my race, and until somebody was really going to make me drive my car that hard, I was just going to kind of pick small battles and go along with it,
Yep. Yeah, it was definitely that's Chris knowing, man. Now, and that's the thing is, I noticed during the the feature, you were on our camera a lot. Wherever it seemed like wherever the action was, you were kind of there by it. And you definitely looked like you were working early. But man, I didn't realize you had that much stuff going on in the car. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's when I lost brakes, I knew it was going to be. It's just tough because you like to be able to put someone's bumper where you want it on your car, and there was a lot of times where someone would be coming for a wheel shot, and I literally would shift, first to reverse 5 or 6 times before they hit me, just trying to center their bumper up on cage or something other than my front wheel. And it worked for a little while, but they got the best of me. It got pretty rough in the end, and didn't have a whole lot of friends down in the end, but it was a blast. Had fun, and everyone shook hands, so that's always a great feeling.
Yeah, there was one point where you were up against the wall there, kind of towards the big bleachers, and it looked like you were stuck in there pretty good, but you got to honing on it and came out, and at that point you had to be a little nervous. I mean, you still had a lot of car left, but I don't know if you were hung up on something or what down in there, but it took you a minute to get away from that wall.
Yeah, the left side tie rod end was broke, so the tire was turned against the concrete as far as I could see. And once I realized what was broke, some guys, my teammates from Blizzard Bash, helped me with a little bit of sideline coaching, so I knew what was broke and kind of how to drive the car a little bit better after that.
Yep.
But I was definitely in a bind. I was already thinking second place don't sound too bad at Bash for Cash, and then he actually bumped into me and just gave me a little bit of a wiggle that I needed to get out of there, and I couldn't believe it. I had my hand out the window at one point, but yeah.
So when the checkered flag finally fell, what went through your mind, other than the fact that it was a relief to be able to shut that car off?
Honestly, it felt good going there just by myself, kind of just to do my own thing. Really didn't have any expectations of winning, just to kind of go have some fun. And as it got down to the end, like I said, I had a pretty rough go at it. And once I realized I had it won, it was, I don't know, a lot of emotions hit. It's a pretty big show to win, and we're all out there for the same reason, to win it. But when it happens, it's pretty surreal. I don't know. I had a lot of battles going on inside the car, and I had counted myself out in my head a few times already. So when it all came together, didn't really sink in, I guess.
Did you you didn't break your radiator, did you? You had water for the whole thing, didn't you? Or
Yeah, I haven't took the hood off yet, but I don't think it never really steamed from what I was told. I mean, it spit a little bit of water out. That engine's not much, honestly. It's just something that, Jeff Baldwin helps me out a ton on machine work and stuff, and he helps me out on some of my short blocks, and I just put the rest together myself. And I mean, that's a $1,700 engine in that car, so I can't complain there.
Nope, you sure can't. You're ahead of the game on that one.
Now, it's the same engine I ran at Blizzard Bash, and it never died all weekend, all 4 heats of Blizzard Bash, and I had a little bit of issues with it when I ran the toast show, but it's mechanical flat tappet, and I just had some valves a little bit out of whack, so brought it home, adjusted the valves, and seemed to do pretty good all weekend. So like I said, once again, I'm not going to complain.
Not a bit.
That motor was $1,700, and he beat the snot out of the transmission and had no steering on one side for a long, long time, and still came away with the win.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
better to be lucky than good.
Yeah, like Rob Hoover always says, right?
That's amazing. Awesome. That's fantastic. What else have you got left for this year? Have you got more plans to run that car at all locally?
I don't know. The back end's pretty rough on it, but I could probably patch it back together. But there's nowhere really locally I could take it. And like I said, in my head I was going to cut it up and just get rid of it because it's done its job. That's for sure. But I may just pull the drive line out and stick it in the weeds because you never know when you could use a car like that laying around.
I'd park that right out front of the house.
Absolutely, with a big side.
That's what $10,000 looks like.
11.
That's right. It was 11.
Turn back.
Yep. Forgot about that. You're right. But it was a fantastic run, man. Is there anybody that you wanted to make mention of that helped you get out there?
Ski as usual. I mean, Jason, Ryan, they both helped me out a ton with the parts, and just with the whole weekend, they had their hands on the car and helping or getting me parts or something. And like I said, Jeff Baldwin helps me out a ton with engine work, the block work when I need it done, and had a bunch of help down in the pits. Just my wife's cousin, Tom Gage, he was there the whole weekend, and I came by myself, just me and her, and he was in the pits all weekend with me, so that helped out a ton. It's nice to have extra hands. And Mark Klein, Mark helps us out as a team, as our sponsor for Blizzard Bash a bunch, so I'm sure there's somebody I'm forgetting, but it takes a lot of people to make it all come together, and I just want to thank everyone for that.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
It's a good Good weekend right there.
Absolutely.
$1,700 motor.
Yeah,
I blew 2 tires on my trailer on the way there and almost ran out of fuel on the side of the highway, and I was almost going to turn around at one point. And I thought to myself, well, maybe it took so much time to get here that it'll be good when I do get there. So it turned out good.
absolutely.
I guess.
Hey, the nice thing is you can afford to buy all new tires for the trailer now. You'll be golden when you got to go to Topeka in a few months.
Oh, I was already running that through my head.
That's awesome.
That's very cool, man. It was good to see.
Gage, man, I appreciate you coming on the show and hanging out with us for a little while. I know you didn't want to do it, but just so you know, you did a fantastic job.
I appreciate it.
We'll talk soon, Gage. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Gage Sumner, winner of the kicker class at Bash for Cash, presented by Near It and Big Rock. The Turn Back the Clock class was presented by derbytees.com, and the compact class presented by DEC Headers. It was a fantastic weekend, and now we turn our attention back local for the next couple weeks with Road Rage on Saturday, and then 2 weeks after that, we're going to be at the Mini Meltdown presented by Jeffy's Fab Farm.
I just got to get that car out.
You should think about it. Probably should think about it. If you're just going to pull it down and put the fix-it plates on it, right?
Can't run fix-it plates.
You got to know where to put them. Got to hide them.
No, I'm not told that far to get set back. That's not happening. I got some ideas. We're going to try some stuff. I don't know. Jeffy's made some pretty cool, what they call them. There's a name for them. They're the Mad Dog Awards, but they're Jeffy's Mad Dog Maniac, maybe. But they're a really cool trophy.
Yeah.
And I think I got enough car to get one of those. I'll have to see what's there when I get there and decide if I'm going to run for a cool trophy or a couple bucks. But
or both.
Or both. I mean, I could get lucky, see what I can do, but looking forward to it.
Even blind squirrels find nuts.
Yeah, I did. I found a couple of them over the years. So, it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to the compact show. I really am.
Great. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Somebody's going to walk out of there with a nice payday.
Yep, that's going to be good.
It's going to be cool.
And before we get there, we've got the team show, and we all know team action on Saturday. You can't beat it.
I'm going to try to get down there for that. I want to see. Rumor has it there's a well-known driver going to be in the truck class that's known for tearing stuff up. I'd like to see him running a truck. Some local guys are going down and running some of the one-and-dones. So hopefully I can make it down there. I love supporting the local guys that are doing good for the drivers. So, and if you'll allow me, maybe I'll come up and be on air for a minute or two. Or
I'm going to be needing help.
Unless I'm fired and you found the replacement.
I'm going to need help.
Let's see what I can do.
Another solo Saturday. I'm going to get down there early enough to try my hand at a little bit of pre-show video stuff.
Cool.
See what happens.
Got some ideas?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've always wanted to, but I think we've set up there enough times to where I'm confident where we're at. I know where everything needs to go, so it's not a lot of search and find. It's just a matter of throwing it out there.
Good.
And we're going to be able to pack pretty light, I think. So I'm going to try that a little bit, see if we can do that, because I know I'm going to need something, because flying solo for a couple hours is going to be tough. I'm going to need a break. Yeah. Watch this video.
You might actually have to drink some water or something.
Let's not get crazy.
Hey, I saw you eat French fries over the weekend. That was of all the times I've known you, I think that's the first time I ever seen you eat French fries.
And I'm pretty confident that after I saw what was going on with the French fries, that I dodged a gigantic bullet.
Maybe you were there early enough to where they hadn't, because the day you got the first one was we were one of the first ones up.
Yeah, I know.
So I think that's how you got in and didn't get yourself sick. So
yep.
You just got to remember that next year.
My stomach was a wreck for a couple days when we got back. Not celiac related, just because it was just.
Yeah.
I think Sunday, I got up at 3 a.m, and from then until we stopped to get the gas station potato salad at 3 a.m., I had an order of nachos, and my stomach was not pleased with my decision making. But hey, that's the way my life goes a lot of times. Somebody's not pleased with my decision making somewhere or another.
Hey, it was overall a great weekend. I'm gonna listen. I want your truthful, honest opinion. Mm-hmm. Instead of bugging Tim to do a combine derby, how about bugging Tim to do 2 heats of Frank the Tank?
You never know. Some strange conversations have been happening there for a while. So
that would be cool.
More to come. That's going to do it for episode number 231. We're going to get the studio turned over for Final Round Drag Racing Podcast. We'll see everybody next Monday when we're back on a regular time, and hopefully Saturday you guys enjoy the Road Rage Entertainment Team Show. We'll see everybody then. Thanks for watching.
Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.